What's up, guys? Wolf's Rain here, and today I'm going to give you my Trials of Mana review for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game is a remake of the original game, Trials of Mana, for the Super Nintendo, and that game was actually just localized for the US and available for the US to play in the Mana collection that came out for the Switch a couple months ago. And from what I've read on the internet, this is a pretty faithful rendition of that original game. So if you played the original on the Mana Collection or in Japanese and you were a fan of that, then definitely try this game because you'll probably enjoy it. So let me get into my review. I want to talk about the combat first because the combat is the main meat of this game. You're going to be doing a lot of it. And it's good that you're going to be doing a lot of it because the combat itself is very addicting. It's very streamlined. It's very enjoyable. I found myself not growing weary of the battles, and found myself not skipping any of the battles because the battles themselves were just so enjoyable to play. So the combat is not turn-based. It's action real-time battle. You'll see a group of enemies, and you'll go up and approach them, and you'll enter an arena type of circle. And you'll fight your enemies. You have different attacks. You have normal attacks. You have a charged attack. You have a dodge mechanic where you can just press a button and you'll dodge out of the way. And you also have a jumping ability where you can jump and do a normal or a charged attack. So it's pretty simple, but there's also a lot of variety and strategy you can use when battling. Because you also have what is called class strikes. Class strikes are special moves that you can use, and while you're using your normal attacks and your charged attacks, you're increasing your CH gauge, which is the blue bars below your player icon. So some special attacks might use 2 bars, some might only use 1. The more powerful ones are going to use multiple bars. You also have moves, which use your move points or your magic. So, for example, Angela is your main spellcaster, so she can use fire spells, she can use ice attacks, she can use earth attacks, light attacks, things like Holy Bolt, which is a light attack. And every enemy has an elemental weakness, so you might want to use like a fire attack against an ice enemy, for example. There's also other moves other characters can use, like you can use a healing spell, you can use a move to increase your attack. And you can set your moves on the Switch, you can set your moves so you can quickly use them with the R button, so you don't have to pause combat. But in battles, if you need to, you can pause combat so you can use an item, so you can kind of think about what item you want to use. You can also choose to use a move attack and choose which enemy you want to attack without having the fear of being attacked. You can just kind of pause the game. So in that sense, it does become a little turn-based, when you pause the game, but it's only for that part of the combat. And you don't even have to do that. You can set your items so you can quickly use them with the R button as well, so you don't have to pause the game. But I liked having that ability to quickly use items and moves and to pause the game and use them. That way I never felt frustrated with combat. I never felt overwhelmed. I felt like I had complete control of my characters because you can switch between characters at any time during combat because you control 3 characters at all times. When you start the game, you choose between 6 characters. So there is some replay value, so when you do finish the game, you can start the game over and you can choose different characters. But yeah, overall this combat is just fantastic. And I can't believe it's a combat from the 90s, but I'm sure that Square Enix made a lot of made some changes to it to make it more modern and streamlined. But when you're attacking enemies, because I forgot to mention this, they also have a kind of a red square or a red circle, which shows you their range of attack. And that way you can quickly dodge out of the way when you're attacking them. The other thing you can do when you're not battling is you can explore towns, and towns will have townsfolk you can talk to. They'll also have collectibles like treasure chests or these sparkling items. You can find treasure chests and items in the overworld as well. That's one of the few collectibles you can get in the game. And these treasure chests will contain gold, or they'll contain what is called item seeds. Now, item seeds, you can, when you go to the inns in town, you can find what are called the magic pots. And in magic pots, you can use item seeds to plant in the pot, and they'll give you items. So if you have a gold item seed, it's going to give you a better item than a regular item seed or a silver item seed. And you can also level up your magic pot so you can get better types of items. The shops are very simple and streamlined, just like the combat. Every new town is going to have one type of weapon or one gear that is better than the one you have. So all you have to do is sell your weaker weapon, get the stronger weapon. Sell your weaker gear, get the stronger gear. You go to a new town, you can do the same thing. They have one more stronger weapon, and you just sell your weaker one, get that stronger one. Also want to talk about the menu. So when you're upgrading your characters, you have what are called training points. And you can use these points to increase your character's intellect, which increases your magic. You can increase their strength or their stamina or their luck or their spirit. And when you use these training points, you'll unlock different abilities and different spells. Now, abilities are things that you can assign to your character that will give you different, I guess, attributes and stats in battle. For example, you could use the Spell Guard, which increases your magic defense when you're casting spells. You can use the Payback ability, which increases the rate at which your CH gauge goes up. Or you can have an ability where if your HP falls below 30%, you do more damage. You also have the strategy menu, which is when you're not controlling a character in battle, you can go to the strategy menu and you can set it so that you want your computer character to focus on healing or attack. Or if you don't want them using moves, you can set it so they don't use moves, or you only use a certain percentage of moves. Or you can have them use some healing items, or you don't want them to use healing items. There's a lot of customization in these menus. But again, just like the rest of the game, it's all very simple. The item menu, you have an item ring, so you can assign different items to the ring to use in battle or on the main overworld. So everything is just, it's easy to go through. I appreciated just how streamlined everything was. I never felt overwhelmed like I do in some other RPGs. So if you've been playing modern RPGs and you're getting tired of the bloatness of them, the hundreds of hours it takes to complete them, or the tons of side quests to do, then you might want to pick this game up, because this game doesn't have any side quests. You just kind of go through the story. And it's actually over in about 25-30 hours, so it's not a long game, and you'll most likely enjoy it if you enjoy RPGs, because it's a lot of fun. It's streamlined, everything's simple, and there was something else I was going to mention. Yes, the story. Now, the story itself. Now, this is a story from the 90s, so of course it's going to be cliche today. So I found myself kind of skipping parts of the story and not really caring all that much about it. Now, I did like the individual backstories of the characters and their motives. I thought that was interesting. I think the characters themselves are well designed. I don't think the voice acting is that great, but again, this is voice acting for an RPG from the 90s. And Square Enix really tried to make this a faithful rendition. So that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed my review.